I'm not impatient. What the fuck is? Hey, Brian.
Ryan, you need to just. This is a song you should listen to. Listen to this song.
It sounds more exciting than what it is.
Let's see how we can lose our next 3 listeners.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Let's try to work on our people skills.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Testicles 1 2, testicles 1 2. All right. This is something different here. We're having our first In the Meantime with MeanDave mashup. This is a mashup, if you will, which means it is not just In the Meantime with MeanDave. We have on a special guest who I've definitely he's been a part of the show since coming back in the pandemic. I've made this man the butt of many a joke. The Sean Boyles Podcast, courtesy of Sean Boyles. Hilariously enough, I was thinking about this, of recording an episode with Sean to, kind of just have a little fun and play around or whatever. And then Sean hits me up about, hey, how about would you be willing to be a guest on the podcast that you never listened to? Which, of course, I would. I do that all the time. I said, why not? Hey, well, I got an idea myself. How about we do In the Meantime and the Sean Boyles Podcast at once together in holy matrimony of podcast form, podcast and YouTube coming together. And then we'll see in a Rashomon-like way what I produce for you visually on the YouTube and what he produces audio-wise on his podcast that he does through Anchor or whatever the fuck. So what's fun is he's gonna join me here on Zoom, and then he's going to call me on my phone to record it for his thing. So we'll be going simultaneously at the same time, putting this all together. So he should be joining me any minute. This will be interesting because I don't know what he has in mind, and I'm sure he's going to have his full guard up waiting for me. I love how you keep seeing my shady bed as it keeps popping up. These pillows just desperately want to be in the front. There we go. Now you can, this is my shady ass room here. But yeah, so it'll be, this is going to be, what's the meeting ID? Just click the link, dude. Just click the link. I gotta do this for this guy. He wants the meeting ID. This fucking guy. And I gotta edit out me picking my nose. This motherfucker. This should be episode 44. Should be. We'll see. But yeah, Sean Boyles. Yeah, we trashed him pretty good and hard through the early pandemic because he was saying, I don't want no Zoom for me, Zoomers. I'm good. No one was asking, but still. Now he needs the passcode. Are you fucking kidding me? And here we are. Welcome. Look at this. Got Sean's iPad. Look at you.
Hi.
What's up, dude?
How are you?
Why don't you put it sideways so you can look like you're in the landscape view, bud? Can you do that?
Okay. Oh, let's see what happens.
There you are. Yeah, you're wide, and your internet's fucking slow, but still.
Yeah, I think I might be too far away from the Wi-Fi.
Shit.
Is it all pixelated and dumb and sounds stupid?
It's not the quality of that. It's mainly your frame rate. I'm just noticing But
well, maybe it's my iPad. It's fucking old as fuck.
Oh, that too. Could be your iPad. But
now
you got to call me. Yeah, I've been prepared.
I gotta call you. Yeah. See how this is crazy. All right.
There's gonna be a lot of editing in this episode.
There's gonna be a lot of what?
I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing in this episode.
Oh, because of on my end, or
no, not on anybody's end. No, you haven't even seen my YouTube just as much as I haven't listened to your podcast, motherfucker.
I've watched your YouTube way more than you've listened to my podcast.
Way more. It's like just to see.
Well, we'll get into it. We can get into it. Let's save it. That will be the goods. So I'm gonna. God damn it! That's not what I want to do.
You just gotta call me. I'm ready. Got my phone all here. Ready.
So I think what's gonna. So is your headphones? I think
my headphones to my phone.
I think it'd be better if the headphones are into your laptop.
Why is that?
Well,
and now you froze up. Jackass. I swear to God. He's gonna have to come back, this motherfucker. I'm taking a screenshot. Look at this. This is pretty much, that's quintessential Sean right there. Just, you know, look at that face. I can't believe, and that's the thing. People get us confused. So, let's see if it. I don't think it's gonna. You're gonna need to jump. You're gonna need to rejoin, buddy. Yeah, that's quintessential Sean Boyles right there. So, you know, this is going to be a good time. All right, looking forward to it. Here he is. All right, he's back. See if we get better for round 2.
Hi.
Hello.
It's
teamwork. It's the power of, in the meantime, working in cooperation with the ever so Sean Boyles.
Oh, look at you!
I got the background for you.
That's awesome.
Wasn't able to fit in the other word. I didn't have time to size it all.
What are you gonna do?
I got your name in it and the toilet paper. That's what matters.
That's all that matters. My name and shit paper. That I guess it goes hand in. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yeah. How about yourself? We haven't seen each other in a minute.
It's been a while, and that's kind of why I wanted to. I was like, I was just gonna call you, and I was like, you know what? Let's just fucking talk.
Shit, yeah. Let's talk shit.
Let's talk and let the world see it. Are
all
you
30 all 30 of my viewers, yeah, and
then we can add 6.
Yeah.
So.
your fan base and my fan base can merge together to form.
I'm always sure. I'm always concerned for your well-being, sir, because I know that you your living is doing stand-up now. No, I just, you know what I mean? Like, if you're okay, if you're doing, I would assume the Zoom stuff is doing well for you, that you're surviving, you're getting your rent paid, you're paying your phone bill. And
you don't know what my biggest concern has been right now. I made a purchase, a very stupid purchase in the middle of the night last night after watching a YouTube video of just some stupid infomercial thing that was suggested to me, and then I watched it and I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. And then I and it was it's this thing, I don't even want to say the product because I don't even want to give this guy any fucking bullshit, but it was something to help like your digestive, or not that I have digestive problems, but it was just something as far as
Dave, you're allergic to fucking dairy. You have digestive problems.
No, I don't. I'm not. I mean, I'm allergic to milk, but that's just because I am a functioning human being like the rest of you. Are all the mutants that drink and cheese and shit.
You're the normal one, and
I'm the good. Yeah, no, the human body's not meant to. But watch the movie Snatch. The character that talks to whatever. One of the characters basically says the human digestion. And I trust movies.
I know you do.
So, but no. So I bought this product and immediately was like. And the thing was, when I bought it, I actually didn't think it was finalized yet. I thought I had one more step, and it already purchased it. I was just about to change my mind, and I was like, fuck! Now I got to deal with this.
It's too easy, right? It's too easy to buy shit online.
Well, especially when it feels scammy, and that's why I was like. And then I learned, I'm like, oh yeah, these guys are kind of like, I'll get my money back, but it's like I called them first thing in the morning when they were open, and then they're trying to tell me they can't stop the order. I'm like, can you just cancel it so that we don't have to go through all of this shit?
Right.
Sending it to me, and you can just hold on to your shit. And the lady's like, let me contact our distribution office and And this is 6 a.m, mind you. I ordered this at like 12:40 at night last night. All right, so that means a little over 5 hours. All right. And somehow in these 5 hours, these like worker bee elves that they got in their warehouse are like, oh, we gotta make sure that this order's ready to go.
Yeah, gotta get it out quick.
You know, so and she says they've already printed out the label paperwork and have it boxed up. So it's unfortunately we can't stop it. And I'm like,
bullshit. Exactly.
Like you just talk to them and just say like, hey, you know that box that's going to Dave? Don't send it.
Don't
like,
send it. Open it up.
Hold on to the
somebody
shit.
Else. Yeah.
And it's so stupid.
That's a way lame excuse for.
No, and that's what gave me I'm like, these people are full of shit. And so I'm playing it by ear, and I already did all the research. They're on the Better Business Bureau. That's like the worst case scenario if once I send it, return to sender, pull any shit, because I've already seen like they do it. They monitor that pretty closely for any issues and resolve them. So I'm like, worst case scenario, I'll put it on there, but I doubt I'll have to do that. I'm pretty sure.
I got scammed recently as well. I was talking with my brother-in-law, and I need a new pressure washer. So for my work, I need to wash a house down. You know, the one I usually have to rent one at Home Depot, and it's costing me more money than it should. Yada yada yada. He said the OfferUp app, which is basically like a Craigslist type of thing or whatever. He's all, they always got stuff on there super cheap. I'm going through that. I'm looking at pressure washers. I see one for $60.
Oh,
I'm like,
dude,
yeah, right. I'm like, there's no way, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it.
That's what I did too.
I click it, and they send me a tracking number. They send me all this stuff. Everything looks legit. I'm looking at the tracking. It's coming from fucking Wuhan, China.
Oh, dude, it's got the cove too, man.
I'm gonna squirt COVID all over fucking people's houses. I'm looking at it, and it's, it goes from Wuhan to some other place, and goes to Kentucky, and then it's in Oakland, and then it says it's on your porch, and I'm like, holy shit! Now, of course, they were saying it's gonna take 3 to 4 weeks before you can get it and all this stuff, and at about the 3-week mark, I start seeing all this progress. I go and look on my porch, and there's this box about this big. And I'm like, these motherfuckers sent me a picture of a power washer, right? That's what I'm thinking. I open it up. It's a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Well, at least they sent you something.
But so I hit them up. I'm like, hey, what I ordered is, what showed up is not what I ordered.
Yeah.
And in super terrible, bad, broken English, we're sorry. Send us picture of what we sent you. And I sent him a picture. We will check records to see if we made mistake. They've agreed that they made a mistake. And hopefully I'm getting a pressure washer for $60, but I'm just super stoked to see what surprise I'm going to get next.
You paid $60 for some mystery box.
Well, maybe I can keep it going, and then it makes it, maybe it ends up being worth it that I get all these free items. Well, $60 worth of items. I don't know how much are Ray-Bans. I have no idea.
I don't know, but I just love how we're both stupid together. This isn't the first time I've been duped by buying stupid shit online. I thought I was going to get some cool fucking AirPods. Mm-hmm.
I ordered those. They were fucking $20 or some shit like that. The right and left wouldn't sync up at the same time.
Oh, nice.
There was no option for them to go ahead. Oh, dude, I either had the right one or I had the left one. It was dumb. It was so dumb. But but it's too easy, right? I mean, you see a thing and you can click yes, and your credit card goes in and whatever.
I mean, it's funny because I've learned this lesson from earlier this year, and I realized I'm like, why didn't I look this shit up before I ordered? Like, I just did a quick look see for and I'm like, I'll get the shit handled, but it was just sort of like, if I just would have searched a little bit, like just one search, I would have known instantly, like, oh no, don't get this shit.
But then I'll do that though for like major shit, like I bought a new mixer for my setup here because my mixer's ready to take a shit. It's been cracking and popping and doing weird noises. I mean, it's been dropped 3,000 times, and I've had it for fucking 20 years. It's time to get a new one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at reviews. I'm looking at fucking specs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at fucking frequency responses, and but I know about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what to look for. I know what I need out of a mixer.
Yeah.
A fucking
now it's just looking for a good deal. And
that's So I'm looking at reviews. This one made a buzz when I got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
The Christmas gift I got for my wife this year. I won't say what it is. Just she really wants to watch your version of our simulcast.
Nice. She knows quality.
She won't listen. Yeah, she's not going to listen to my version. She'll watch yours.
Love Heroku.
But her birthday gift, I did the same thing. I made sure it was getting good reviews, made sure that it was of a quality, because I saw some that were similar, that were cheaper. So, but some fucking earbuds that I thought would be rad that were super cheap. Didn't bother to look.
Earbuds, not airbuds.
Earbuds. No,
Airbud is a dog.
That's true. That's true. But
earbuds, not airbuds.
What are the
earbuds?
So what are the wireless ones that
earbuds? Those are earbuds.
I thought earbuds were just your regular.
Oh, you're saying AirPods.
AirPods. That's what I meant.
Yeah, you said earbuds.
I mean,
see, I don't even use those shit, so I don't know exactly, but I know what an airbud is. So
again,
anyway,
a movie. That's why. That's why you knew.
Airbud was, but so yeah. So as far as because you've done this since the beginning. I was the one who was more concerned about you in the beginning of the pandemic, because I know that when everything first shut down, all that your livelihood is painting and doing houses and housework and stuff, and it's all under the table, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it was funny because I remember hitting you up, talking to you about it, and this happens between you and I. Have the strangest like off footing when it comes to our communication.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's quite often. It's not in person. In person, everything's water under the bridge. It's when we're not. It's when we're communicating through the social medias or through text messages, where you'll get literal on something that clearly was not literal that I'm saying, or where I'll respond to something of yours, clearly being sarcastic, and then you giving me like a paragraph, basically like, I don't care, and here's 5 paragraphs why.
Of why I don't care.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating.
No, you're absolutely
one paragraph, but there would be it was so there would always be this strange, like almost like purposefully out of sync, which is why I say you are in why you dig new metal when you did, and because it's that awful shit, and I bypassed that shit. So but no, in the end it was, and so it's just funny. So then when the pandemic hit, I figured worst case scenario. I've also, one of the things people don't know, I've saved my money. That's good. That's good. Very good about saving my money. Worst case scenario, say like I had no money coming in and all that kind of stuff, I would still have been okay. But I'm also somebody, based on doing my recovery and all that shit, I don't like, when I was in my addiction, there was like a whole year where I practically didn't do anything and lived off my savings.
That's good. Okay.
And I was drinking, and I was doing drugs.
So you've always had that about you, where you're squirreling money away.
I did. I mean, I was doing that when I was still in my drug days, but I had jobs on regular and stuff, and I had unemployment coming in. When I got into recovery, the thing about it was, there was a good 3 years I was living at my parents' in my first recovery, 2.5 years really. But so that was living rent free while working a job.
Well, that's good.
After I paid off my fines and all that, so I just stacked my money, and then comedy started becoming a third of my income in addition to that. And so what I used to say was like, oh, my comedy is my pocket money, so I never have to touch any of the money from my job, and I just saved that, and that money then was getting too fat in my wallet, so I'd have to go and deposit money. I never had to use the ATM to get money.
That's good.
For a good like 2.5 years while I was living at home, and I was saving money in addition to what I was making from my day job. And that continued into when I even moved out of my folks' house and started living in Newark and was working at What the Cluck. And there I was getting paid under the table, working pretty full-time hours.
Right.
And still doing comedy and making my comedy money. And then when comedy or when What the Cluck went out of business, I just evaluated what money I had coming in and, knowing my rent and everything. So my rent's, fairly affordable around here considering the Bay.
Yeah.
And everything.
I knew you didn't have a lot of overhead,
No, I didn't need to, but the thing is, even in those first 2 months, I was like, oh, cool. My gigs will pay my rent and my whatever for the next 2 months. And I'll figure out what job I can get in the meantime. As time wore on, I always kept saying, I'm just like that baby in a Warner Brothers cartoon going through the construction site. Every time I'm about to fall off a ledge,
that's a great
another beam comes up and I
Sure.
keep going. And then all that's happened is I've developed a strong sense of confidence in the fact that it's not comedy as much as just when I get to a certain point, if I feel like I need to take action and get, this is, if comedy money, I've been like this for the last going on 4 years. If comedy money does not look like it's going to work as a month approaches or whatever, I need to either hit up for people for more gigs or and the thing is I've developed enough of a reputation where as of right now, the way that things have worked with our Zoom shows, our donations are fairly steady. I don't count on them per se, but they've been fairly steady for our regular weekly Zoom shows to where, I can count on some money, but I don't want to count on it because they're donations.
Sure.
And it's not like I'm, but I want to do right by making them as entertaining as possible, which I feel we've developed quite a strong core audience. We have regular donors, which have been very cool. And we do our best to pay it back too. And also to help others. We've been doing that this month where we've been, doing some shows where we've either had people on as guests or had some people's tips, who are on the show, donate their tips to a local service worker or someone.
Oh, word. That's awesome.
By the thing who has kids. Primarily, we're like looking for people with kids, but
that's great.
We've also helped out a couple people. They've been totally, because they had no idea. Most of them. One we had a guest on that she knew about it, and we raised her way more money than I thought we would. Like I was expecting, $100, maybe 150 or something. We raised like $250 for her.
Nice.
Which was cool. And it's not like it's part of the gesture. And as far as because I talked to her, it was actually a post to hers that inspired this idea. And then we got some money. We donated some money to one of the Punchline bartenders who has kids, and that came out of nowhere because he's been doing this. He's doing this side hustle. It's his main hustle right now because he's out of work, but making sangria, to deliver in the San Francisco. And then there was another employee. We had some extra tips, and I hooked her up with some. She lives in San Jose. She works at Jack's also. And then another friend of ours, a comedian friend actually, who because I made a post and he responded because another friend of ours was looking to, it was another friend actually. I don't know what it is about me, but between you and another comic friend or who checks in and is everything going okay? Are you doing okay? Do you need anything? Do you need something? And I'm like, I appreciate it. Actually, I'm doing okay. And if we're actually doing this shit. If you really want to help, I can probably, steer you in a direction to help.
No, that's great. No, that's
so that's what we did.
That's
so
good to hear.
In the early pandemic, this is where my beef with you comes from.
Here we go.
You were out of work, and I got an early window into the Zoom possibilities.
Yes, you did.
And one of the first people I contacted to do the Zooms was you.
And I appreciate it.
And no, I wouldn't say you appreciate it.
I appreciate it, but
I said we want to drum up some people to check it out. I think your people would check it out, and we'll hit them up for tips and yada yada whatever.
And I poo-pooed.
And you made it sound like you're just trying to hustle my friends for money. You said that, you implied that shit later. And I'm like, yes and no, not trying to hustle. I said, if anything, it's we want to just at least have, I think we would have a starting point of an audience with what we got and plus with you. And you're out of fucking work, motherfucker.
You're at the first, that first month I thought I was going to be okay. I thought I was going to just cruise through.
We all did.
But then, like, all the jobs I had, because I had jobs lined up, and they all
shit.
Oh yeah, but they all said we're going to wait.
Yeah, hold on.
And then I went like 2 months without it. I went 8 weeks, and I had one job within an 8-week span.
Yeah.
But then people realized, okay, well, it's only one guy coming over here, and he can stay. We can stay away from him. Like people, and then, or if I was outside running around somebody's house,
the paranoias of the unknowing of COVID. Yeah,
exactly. So once the fears sort of went away, dude, I've been fucking busy, dude. I'm booked right now out into late January.
Yeah.
And that's never the case for me at this time of the year. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a great thing.
And it's been fucking balls out since May.
Well,
since
it's funny.
Like the end of May.
It's funny because what you're describing is how I kind of felt in the beginning of the pandemic, because I was looking at like, okay, worst case scenario, I'm not, I got my gigs dried up, and I can chill, but I'm not. I know me. It's like I'm not going to chill knowing that I got no money coming in. So if anything, I'll start looking for a part-time job. Amazon was sending, like these mailers, like, hey, need work? We need people. And
word, okay.
Everybody, there were people that were hiring. It's just like, okay, well, if I take those measures, it's like I'm very. I don't want to say I'm not picky. It's more like, thing is, there was also other side hustles that were popping up. Nina was needing editing work, and just some other things came up. But right away, I got that first initial invite to do a private Zoom show. I knew nothing about Zoom, and it was Rona Watson out in San Mateo, who I was one of the 4 comedians that her like kind of audience of people requested to come do a Zoom show.
You were requested.
So, yeah, no,
that's awesome.
It was cool, and the other comics requested. That's like I was like, it was me, Terry Dorsey, Tammy T Love, and Chelsea Beers. And basically she goes, yeah, we want to do a comedy show. And like, she goes, you don't have to do like straight stand up or whatever. I just hope, you guys can just like banter and, talk to the crowd and, whatever. And we did it. What I would say was like, we did it fairly like a live podcast style. That's what it turned into, was us just talking shit to one another. And it
seems like these things have naturally kind of fallen into that.
Well, that's what attracted me to it in the first place. Like, here's the thing. I would have still been doing the straightforward Zoom comedy shows right away. But the thing about it was, as soon as I got invited to do it, I'm like, I have nothing else to do. Like, what excuse do I have?
Right.
Do it, to not try it.
Sure.
And then not only that, because Rona's also saying we're going to hit him up for tips. And I'm like, me, it's like, pay me to do anything. And short of sucking a dick, I should probably be able to do it. And so it was just sort of like one of those things that and then I saw the group that we were doing it with, and we did great. And then the thing was, surprisingly enough, we made, at least I made, and I know someone probably got more because they liked them more. I made enough that covered that I made my rent from that gig.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
And it was just, but it wasn't even so much the money aspect as much as creatively. I was like, oh shit, I've got nothing but time. This is like I can totally see me and Erie doing another terrible podcast in this form.
No, you totally adapted pretty early on and quickly.
It was, I mean, to me, it was just like, what else? I mean, if you have work or if you have something else, I can understand, being hesitant to doing it. But when you're like me and it's like, I got nothing else.
Well, no. And I think that was, it was a good call. It was a good call for sure.
And then, I mean, Nina jumped on board too, because then she came up with her what initially was the disability show that we did. And then she came up with the comedy show and tell.
Yeah, I think having a theme like that seems to be better than a straight, we're doing a Zoom comedy show where everyone's kind of doing their stuff that they do on stage in front of their iPads, laptops, or phones, and
that can be fun too. But it depends on it. Really, you need a good attitude of the people involved. What we've had is a lot of people that we're also fair. I mean, most people are spoiled, fucking rotten in this culture, regardless. And the fact being that, like, what I saw was clearly. I cannot tell you. I've said it before. It's like how many people have made unwatchable content for years on the internet, and then all of a sudden now they draw this line in the cell. Well, I'm not going to do Zoom shows. I'm like, take a good look at your fucking YouTube, motherfucker. Like, you really think?
That was what you were saying about what I was doing, because
I roast all the time. I mean,
I know.
I've talked shit to you, and I know exactly what you're doing with your podcast and what you're doing and all that. What I was just saying is, like, you were doing this on Sunday nights.
Yeah,
and the level of resistance I was getting from you was hilarious to me. I'm like, dude, no one else is like, you have nothing else better to do. I know you don't.
At that time, you're right. I had nothing better to do. Now I can't find time to do anything. It's ridiculous.
No, that's a wonderful problem to have, considering the circumstances. Not everybody can say the same thing.
I haven't even been able to play drums, really, dude. Like, I've played, I think, 9 times since March.
Mm-hmm. And some would even argue you haven't been able to play this entire time.
See, that's terrible.
That's what you do with my comments.
But so I think I was talking to you about it. My one studio in Oakland was locked out for a while. Yeah, they were encouraging people to stay away, and then the other spot I have is in San Jose, and I didn't want to go all the way down there. Or I did. I mean, I did anyway. But it's half a day, if not more, of driving down there and spending a couple hours of playing. Dude, my calluses are almost gone.
Yeah,
like that's how
you can almost masturbate.
I can almost masturbate. Exactly. I mean, that's like the first time they've been this kind of panty-handed since, like, I don't know. I was
handed.
Well, I mean,
they're womanly. They're womanly.
Womanly, soft. I could probably give really good hand jobs right now.
Soft hand.
But that's been. I mean, since I was 12, I think I've had these fucking gnarly calluses. Yeah. So anyway, it's
You're probably worse back then, because I would. As far as like all that shit it was funny, because then. That was the thing too, where I was trying to just make that point of like, look, you were doing your Sunday visual podcast, and now I know you were. It was cracking me up because you took like a hiatus from all social media as well, which, granted, great idea to do from time to time, but at the single point,
you felt it was a bad time to do it.
It was at the single point when most everybody is online going insane.
Yeah.
Now you want to take a break.
Well, that's
cracking me up. It was cracking me up.
But again, that goes back to doing the stuff that I want to do, and not
that I want to do. I mean,
I'm serious. Like I found myself going online and reading people's shit and getting just frustrated with everybody's like ignorance and their stupidity, totally. and it was
amped up. It was amped up. It was more.
And it just it
was on edge.
But everybody
would be online.
But I mean, you like seeing that demise of everybody. Like,
well, it depends. It depends on the target, because when I say target, I mean it depends on the person, because it's interesting to watch who comes undone. Who, like, because I've watched people go from being like completely pretty cool to then this election. Like, it wasn't.
Oh my God! Well, that was part of it.
Yeah. And then now it's so funny. Then you got these motherfuckers now that like that now want to like just get on the bandwagon of tearing down Biden when like right away. And I'm like, yeah, you've had plenty of years. Like, we've had nothing but politicians that have been scumbags for years. And the only
what's going to change now?
All the country was voting for was, do you want outright asshole behavior be encouraged, or do you want the performative decorum of somebody who just you're not going to have to hear about in the news every fucking half hour? You know, that's it. And it was like some level of like peace of mind of some kind, so that we're not listening to, because it was a circus.
It was a circus. The misinformation that people were running with was bothering me.
It still are.
And I was like, I found myself trying to correct everybody, and I was like, I don't know, it was just starting to waste time. I was just wasting too much time.
Wasting time in the wrong area, because you'd be online, but you wouldn't be. I'm like, this is shit that you definitely would channel. Because the whole thing is, and I'm no better. What it took my buddy Doug, who is a staunch Trump supporter and all this shit. This was like one of my childhood buddies. And what's funny, it's funny to watch him turn into one of these guys, because he's a reasonably smart dude. And he now, and it's like, I have no problem with so much of people who are like pro-Trump. It's more if you're in the aspect of denial of, like, to the degree that it turns into.
Sure.
And he's still reasonably, like, he's not completely swept up in it. His girlfriend is, but not so much him. Yeah, it's nutty, but in the end, it's like it turns into this line in the sand shit, and everybody was doing that from the start of COVID with the masks, and then with the lockdown, and then with because I remember seeing people that were being so contradictory, where they'd be upset at Trump for not doing anything about it, but then pissed at Gavin for shutting shit down. And I'm like, what do you really want?
Again, you know? that type of stuff was just, I was just getting so frustrated with the whole thing. And I found myself, when I wasn't online, driving or working, I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, it was just consuming me a little too much. So
space in your head.
It was renting. Yeah. And it wasn't paying rent. I don't think it was it was mooching. It was squatting. It was squatting
in your head. But these were things that. So Doug was the one, because he was in my very first YouTube in the meantime, and I posted it and tagged him, and he goes, "When are you going to make any new ones?" And I was like, at first I was just sort of like, my initial, you know me, my initial instinct is like, well, fucking, I don't need to make it. And like, I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, why don't I make any new ones? I got nothing but fucking time. And basically then I got into my iMovie more, which I was using a little bit more. And just started making them since then. I was making them every week for a while. And then when things started getting a little busier, I was making them every other week. And then
these are the Rona logs.
Yeah, these are what we are here right now. And these ones for Christmas are weekly, because we're locked down again. I got issue with the lockdown again, only because and I know the criteria why they're locking down again. The ICU shit.
Yeah, but to have it not be, because like right now I'm doing a job in San Mateo County, so I'm going from our county here where we're supposed to be locked down, and I'm going to a county that's not locked down.
Yeah,
and everything's sort of it's just either lock it all down or don't. You know what I mean? Don't have some locked, and because we live in too close a proximity to, people are going,
coming and going,
county to county. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense if some are locked down and others aren't. The traffic's like this lockdown is definitely not like it was in March, because
there's no traffic.
Like it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
When you did venture out, it was weird and eerie, because
people didn't know to what extent. That's why everybody bought toilet paper. They thought they were going to be able to wipe their asses.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be stuck in the house, stupid. For weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, and not be able to get to the store.
The store.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I can run out of toilet paper. I don't give a shit. I got that bidet.
Yeah. Woo! Exactly. Yeah, you're way ahead of the curve on that shit.
But I just, but this time, like, oh yeah, really? You're gonna lock us down again? I don't think anybody's gonna abide by it. You know what I mean?
Well, people have. I mean, people have. It's just you still also have a good number of people that are more frustrated by it. There's, and obviously, believe me, I'm like, I get it, because it's like it does affect me too, and it's just more or less the fact that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to be one of these people that's like, well, this is exactly what, based on my non-doctor research and da-da-da-da-da.
Exactly.
And I'm somebody that's like, I'll go out there in a mask. I'll bring my hand sanitizer. I'm really not that freaked out by it. I'm more concerned for other people.
Have you been doing any sort of vitamin intake, like upping your vitamins, upping your vitamin D, or look at you, you got some C.
My gangster. It's my gangster.
That's your gang sign. Yeah, that's
right
good.
there.
No, that's great. Good for you.
No, that's all my parents. Like they were the ones that were making me do that shit because I wouldn't do it normally. And then they just got me on it. And the only one I ran out of the fish oil shit. I don't like the fish. The fish oil does nothing, and it has like
it's more for your digestive than anything else. The fish oil.
No,
yeah,
I noticed nothing from the fish oil. Absolutely nothing.
The zinc, the vitamin D, the vitamin C. That's what you want to sort of have the immune system be a little stronger.
Yeah, that's great. That's what Joe Rogan podcast keeps saying too.
That's
it's just funny. It's funny. I love hearing Joe Rogan start getting. Yeah, that's the thing because people just don't talk about immune systems. That's what you need.
But he's right. I mean, he's right.
Is he? I'm just saying, more or less. It's like that's some. He's not a doctor either. I hate it that he keeps bringing it up. He keeps bringing it up and bringing it back.
I don't know. I think it's a good point because, like, if you're trying to help people be safe, wouldn't you want them do stuff to themselves to make themselves stronger against a thing? You know what I mean? I don't know.
This is America. People love their Cheetos. They love.
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem.
Dude, the problem is they're not taking their vitamin C.
Well,
there's zinc in there.
Paul Conyers got it.
Yeah, I saw. No, I didn't see, but we were doing Chelsea's birthday Pictionary last night, and
how was that?
They mentioned it was fun. That was more fun than I thought it would be.
Right on.
And
Paul, he had no symptoms at all. Apparently,
that's what he said.
Didn't feel like he had anything. He just happened to get a test, and
it's what you call white privilege, man.
Well, that's what everyone's that's what everyone's throwing in his face.
Everything goes well for that dude. Everything goes well for him. But no, there's a few people have gotten it. I think Shannon Murphy, South Bay. She just
she got it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did she have symptoms and feel like shit and do the whole thing? Or?
I think she said she was feeling a little worn out or whatever, but she also has been working like 10 days straight. She was saying because she watches those kids.
Yeah.
And
she's a nanny or whatever.
Yeah. And she said it wasn't from doing drugs with friends. It was from doing her civic duties.
Thanks for clearing that up, Shannon. We want you to feel.
It's probably the comedian in her. She's probably just being cheeky. But yeah. So as far as all, I haven't felt sick the whole year, but also because between my recovery group, I live with the guy who also works at Amazon and my landlord, married couple. She works at a hospital. She works at Stanford Hospital. So, it's not like we have COVID tests at the ready here at the house. But I mean, I haven't felt any symptoms. But again, with them being symptomless, you never know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You never know.
How you if you are offered the vaccine, you gonna get it or?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Why not, man? I'm not one of these. I'm like 44. If a vaccine kills me, good. I'm not. I don't even get flu shots either. I don't either. Yeah,
I've never gotten one.
The only reason with the vaccine shit is just if it's there and like I mean people have been getting it already, so I'm there's things that like it depends on if it costs me money or if it costs me the ability to do something that I'm eventually going to want to do. I have a feeling they may start instituting some level of shit with air travel or whatever in relation to the vaccine or being able to come and go or do something, whatever. They may try to do that shit. And if they do, it's better to just, fucking, I've had the whole thing.
Well, we've all been,
vaccinated against other shit.
Yeah.
It's just, and I just love the fact that people get skeptical now. But this complete horseshit moron skepticism that exists after living a lifetime of so much more to be skeptical of that has never, it's like, and at the time when the worst guy, it's like, oh, just don't, you're one of those people that just, you know, you're a conspiracy theorist and you worry wart and all this other shit. And I'm like, you want to know what's a conspiracy? Everything in your supermarket, everything that, you know, from bottom line, from your phones to the things, your cars, you know, everything that gives you this benefit of just being able to not have to think about anything. That's a conspiracy, to keep you smothered in comfort and to not be bothered, because then when you are bothered or you're met with a challenge, that's when something's wrong. And it's just funny to me, like how things, you know, how people like just arbitrarily get skeptical at these things and throughout time and all that. You know, there's been no link to vaccinations and autism as much as people think. And I forget what the other thing about might cause autism, but who knows? I'm not, and like I said, I didn't go into that line of research. So
right, it's just a goofy. I understand people's concern because they feel like it's been rushed, or like, you know, I've been, you know, people are saying shit like, well, cancer has been around forever and AIDS have been around forever. They couldn't get a cure to any of those things, but they got a cure to this thing. I'm like, yeah, they got a cure to this thing.
It's not even really a cure.
It's not a cure. Yeah. Well, that's where people
are preventative measure.
You know, putting those things together. It's just, if it's offered, I'll definitely, you know.
Yeah. Do it. Yeah. Fuck it. Know. It's just one of those things again. Like I don't worry about it. Not so much that you know, it's a concern, but it's like, again, I'm more pissed off about this fucking shit that I ordered. And I got to wait for this package to send back to get this, you know, to get this money back.
How much are you out?
I'm not out. I'm just, you know, it's money that's, you know, it's not money that I need as much as money that's like in limbo. I don't want it. It's that part. It's just obsessive. It's the principle.
Principalities.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Principalities.
Yeah. Like, fuck you guys. You couldn't just hold on to the shit and refund my money? No, we got to go through this fucking charade. Fuck this.
Yeah.
So I gotta play this game with these motherfuckers. So
yeah. I wanted to ask you, how or do you play music at all anymore?
Not on the regular, but you know, it's funny. My nephew just recently got interested in the guitar, and my mom hit me up to see if I'd be interested in teaching him guitar lessons, which I said totally. And
wow!
And he's doing it. He's not. It's not just something that like they pushed on him. He actually took an interest. He's played trumpet for years. He loves music. He's got a familiarity. He played piano when he was younger, and so now he's 15 and he's a sharp kid. He likes to mess with movie editing and stuff, and he's for being 15, he's still very childlike. Like he's one of these.
He's a young 15.
Well, it's mainly that he's aware that the world is like a scary, stupid place, and he would rather, you know, like he's just really one foot in the water before he's not just jumping in trying to be an adult right away. And I respect the hell out of that, because that's just, you know, I was like that, but also at the same time I loved metal. That's the only difference. The only difference between me and him was I like the dark side of life. Because
what does he dig in musically?
He hard to say. I don't know his actual interests. The only thing I knew of that he loved was the Cars soundtrack, the movie. You know,
he's probably grown out of that.
No, he hasn't. I'm not shitting. He's 15 and he's still like that. He's that like child. Like he likes the things that he still liked growing up. It's not like he's so into him as much as he was, but there's still Lightning McQueen shit in his, you know, he's a very cool kid. And he also did some things.
He doesn't need the bus, does he? He doesn't need the short bus?
No, he doesn't. He's got good grades and stuff, and you know, it's mainly just he's basically, according to what my sister says, that he's just like me, which we look nothing alike, but I get when I hang out with him that I think he's the similarity. He's basically like I was if you took out the evil.
The attraction to the dark arts.
Well, just somewhat, because no, there is definitely an evil instinct that I had when I was a child. I remember it very distinctly, where I was like two or three. I'm pretty sure I was 3. My mom went to go to aerobics, so it was like big deal back then.
I remember
yoga of the
jazzercise
70s and 80s. And so I had to be in this trough of kids in this one room. I'm in the daycare area, and there was a baby in there, and I didn't like the look of the face on the baby, and especially when it was smiling. I just didn't like. There was this baby.
This fucking baby.
It was this little fucking baby. I didn't like babies when I was a kid. Weird thing. I have distinct memories of like hearing a baby crying and being like, just like, I wouldn't do it, but I would think it, like, just like grab that baby by the leg and spin it around till it stops crying, you know?
Yeah.
And so
I'm glad you didn't, you know.
Of course not. But that's a psycho would do it, but I knew it's like I've got psycho thinking. Like I've got the
Well, that's the thing, right? You have the thought. If
I'm
the
aware
thought comes out, if the thought comes out and you act on the thought, that's
and there's still people in this world that would insist that, oh, the thinking alone, though, that's like doing it.
No, because they thought of some crazy shit too. They're just not copping to it.
But it was just funny because so this baby's just sitting there just smiling, you know. And also I'm a kid dealing with what things that I wasn't aware of, but I kind of was. My dad and my mom were having a very tough, you know, eventual divorce. It was a very tense time around, and that's where a lot of this, you know, evil comes from, I feel. And so I looked at this kid, and this kid was just loving the fuck out of playing with this little toy. I don't even remember the toy. And I just didn't like this kid's face. And I walked up to just kind of rolled up to the kid when no one was looking, took the toy away from the baby, and the baby was like, and I'm like, yeah, now we're cooking with gas. Like that's when I took joy from that point. And so then the adults like converged on the baby crying, and they were like, what are you crying for? Or whatever. And they couldn't figure it out yet. And so they got the kid like another toy, like
sure,
whatever. Kids smiling again, whatever. Adults back to their thing. And I think somebody caught me like the second or third time. What happened? I kept doing it. That's the thing.
How old were you?
I was like 3. That's what I'm saying. I was like,
Jesus.
I have. It's not like fully. I don't have everything, every aspect of it. My mom got told about this, like. That's what I was doing. Like I know that she remembers.
There's something to watch out for here.
No, she's like, hey, your son's kind of being a little prick. And I'm like, not to everybody, just that one baby. I don't like his face. I don't know, something about that kid's face. And you know,
I'm sure that kid's.
Maybe I sense baby Hitler. Who knows? And
I'm sure that kid's an asshole now. I mean,
who knows? But it was just I just like the look in this baby's face when the baby was happy. Didn't like. When the baby was crying, fucking loved it, and I just kept wanting to see that the cry because I thought it looked funny. Maybe I don't know. So that's just when I knew I was a little prick. But but then my nephew, he's dealing with a lot of all that stuff. He's just got a really sweet nature about him. You know, he's got his little quirks, his obsessiveness. Like he's diagnosed. He has a mild form of Tourette's. Which when they described it, I'm like, I may have some level of that Tourette's.
Okay.
Based on what he was diagnosed with. And so then when you know, it's not like always the compulsive cult like cussing. It's
there's all kinds of different versions of it, of course. Yeah.
So I may have had that
just
at some point.
The swearing is just the funnest one.
It's the most extreme. And But yeah, so just learning about that. So anyway, so we've been starting to do Zoom guitar lessons, and
that's cool. Now, did you teach yourself how to play, or did you took lessons?
I learned
early on or whatever.
I taught myself how to play basically, like, you know, power chord, and I was able to play some shit that was easy that I could teach myself. But I still knew that there was like a level of formal playing that I want. Like I couldn't get my fingering down very well. And it was the guitar class. My sophomore year was the last year they taught it at Newark Memorial High School.
Oh shit! That's cool.
They had a guitar class, and I had a guitar, and I took it, and I got so much out of it. It's all the basics that I remember from that class that I'm teaching.
That's perfect. That's what you got to do. You got to give them the fundamentals. They got
fundamentals of. It's just to get your fingering. It's to get your fingering down, your coordination down, and then we're following it up with just your basics of your major chords. Just to try. I'm just laying the foundation for the chords right now because I only have an understanding of them to a certain point. Because then once you get into the modes and the fifths and yada yada, I lose interest. That's when I'm like, I just wanted to learn well enough.
It can get super nerdy, and
I hate it.
I mean,
I don't dig it.
when I was going to Cal State Hayward to get my music degree, having to learn all that stuff, it seemed, of course, their whole thing is it's kind of the same thing. They're giving you that foundation, but it's a fucking way involved foundation.
Yeah, I wanted to play guitar. I got into it for a noise aspect, because once I realized I was able to play the songs that my favorite bands were playing, that's when I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'll figure the rest of this out on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's kind of where it came from. And I think in the end, I was happier with it because I met people that were like, that went into the modes and all that shit. And you can't unlearn that shit. It's like, once you get super techie, it's like, it's harder to then kind of mine that other side of your brain. That's where Buzzo's guitar playing comes from the Melvins. Why he has a unique approach. As much as he's all self-taught, but he has a part to his songwriting that wasn't grounded in this formal training that was there. It was really just, he kind of had a way into it and figured it out himself.
Right.
And so, and who knows how it would have gone had he learned any level of like formal aspect of it. So, and that's the thing, is I'm trying to basically instill in him, like, just try to get the coordination down. And then on top of that, find his window into having fun with it. Like, give him a task for this next lesson of like, write a simple little jingle, like a little 1-note jingle, just the
something simple. Sure. That's awesome.
Easiest little song or whatever.
You give them the best of when I was given drum lessons, I would kind of try to do that same thing. You give them a foundation, but you try to instill in them that, hey, we need this stuff so that we can go off and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And
it's funny though, because I found myself in, when I was giving, like, there was a certain level that I couldn't seem to get past. Mm-hmm. With a student, like, they would reach this certain part and they would kind of like, this is, because it wasn't sounding like music yet. You know what I mean? We're mm-hmm. just tapping rhythm, and it's not, it's a thing yet.
I think they got to find that themselves. I think there's a point to where because that's one of those things where, like, I was able to write a song before, I think that's what, I wrote a song before I even learned guitar formally. I wrote the Yo song. It's a stupid song that my friends and I made, and I wrote it, or I helped write it, and then because I could even play the drum beat. The drummer who took lessons, he could even play the beat that was like, I showed it to him, and then he got really mad at me because I never took guitar or drum lessons, but I'm able to play this beat.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, and it was
you just had some natural ability then.
Yeah, I have rhythm. Well, I have rhythm, and when you have that's the thing, is I think the hardest part for people, because I've seen people learn guitar and bass and stuff who have no rhythm. And when if you don't have rhythm, you just give up. You don't need to play. It's no, because I remember trying to start a couple bands with a guy that, he had a bass and he thought he could play, and every time I'm like, you don't know how to listen to sync up with somebody else's rhythm.
I've seen that so many times.
Yeah. I've been able to play with people with almost even if your sense of rhythm is like weird, I can still adapt and anticipate, and so I think that's the gift, I guess, if there's anything, is just the ability to like hear what other people are doing.
I used to have these conversations with Mikey, Mikey, mm-hmm. And when we were jamming together, he felt that I was sometimes too locked into the book learning stuff, mm-hmm. and wasn't able to expand, and because I would constantly
Mikey? Which guy's Mikey again?
Mikey, he's in he evolves with
Oh, him, yeah. Mike Treoliar or whatever the fuck.
Mike Treloar.
Treloar, yeah.
Yeah. And, because he was pretty much, he did take lessons in it early on, but then he quickly just started doing his own thing. But he definitely had that, there are no rules type of attitude. And
rules are meant to be broken in some respects.
Exactly. And he felt like sometimes when we were writing music together that I was too hung up on the rules, and because I would hear stuff and it just didn't sound right. And then I'd see what he was doing and know that, okay, well, that's not in key or whatever, you know what I mean? Because like playing out of key is one thing, but if it's like, I mean, even the way I play guitar, like I on purpose do dissonant notes, but I'm going for that. But it works. He was doing stuff that was just out and it wasn't working. And we'd have these arguments about, and of course, again, there's no rules, there's no right or wrong technically, but if it just didn't sound right, that's usually when I had a problem. And the reason why it didn't sound right is because it naturally didn't sound like it was in key. And he would be like, you're hung up on your rules. And
I took pride in creating a group that was my one-man band that was basically encompassing of what my guitar teacher taught us is the definition of music, all controlled sound and silence over time. And what I learned,
like an equation.
No, it is. Well, no, it's to encompass everything is what is the definition of music in terms of noise is also construed as music. It's controlled sound and silence over time, because there's been musicians, John Cage and all them,
absolutely,
the motherfuckers who made songs that were just silence, which is a bullshit fucking, arbitrary, point to make. But it's one of those things that when what I then started to look at was like, and after doing, copious amounts of acid, is that
that was his other complaint too. I didn't do drugs or drink, so my mind wasn't expanded enough to understand what he was doing.
He played in nu metal too. All right. So he has no business to
Stop it.
So what I came to the conclusion is that I could jam with anybody, even if they couldn't, like, even if they didn't, like, because when I look back on it, I'm like, okay, if I had to jam with like that guy that had no rhythm or whatever, I could figure out a context to make that work.
Oh, wow.
My goal in this one-man band. And I even proved it a couple times. There was a guy, buddy of mine, he was a comedian, and he was filling in on drums for one of my one-man band gigs, because I would get a drummer. You would be, if I ever resurrected, you'd be the first drummer I'd call to do this.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because all it is I call it, it's a prog approach to Flipper, the band Flipper. It's just, I take a drummer and I basically kind of like program them by just like play a 4/4 beat. And once you start feeling where I'm going, play what you feel. And, you'll start to sense what I'm doing. There's some drummers I've had to like premeditate some shit with. They're a little more, Phil, who's in James's band Swamp Witch. He's one of those guys where I kind of had to work with him and have shit premeditated, because he's a little more like in that mode. But
needing the structure.
Yeah, but most drummers that, like, even if they don't do the jam band kind of thing, all I had to do was give them the slightest bit of direction, and then all they do, they would just hear what I was doing, and they would instantly like lock in, get it. And it was so much. And then not only that, you start watching them feel changes, and we're in sync doing things that they did that,
it's improvised.
Close thing to ESP. Yeah, it is improvised. It was but you could kind of sense what's going on. I'd just say, go with your gut and play. Just have fun playing. I'll follow you. Yeah. And it was really cool. And a lot of times these guys would light up. Well, one of those guys was this comedian who claimed he could play the drums, and I learned that gig he couldn't play the drums.
Oh, shit.
But it was so funny because he still had some sense of rhythm, and I made it work. And that was when I was like, I can even make this work with a drummer who doesn't know how to play drums.
Right.
And the problem was that the first song went great, and then when I let the audience in on the fact that he didn't know how to play drums, because I turned to him, I'm like, you lied. You don't know how to play drums. And the audience laughed. Right. And that was kind of like letting him in on the magic trick. And then the second song didn't go over as well. But it was only 2 songs anyways. They were just like long jam band songs.
What did you like playing out of drums, bass, and guitar, what did you like best?
Oh, guitar. Guitar is my favorite instrument, especially if I have a band that like is my favorite people that I've played with were my buddy Dennis, who's like I played with the longest. He was like the first real drummer I jammed with. That played. He learned the drums to my guitar playing, and he got way into drums. He started, going into jazz and other shit and whatever. But he was always locked into my style. Like when it came, because I, definitely we were into a lot of the same bands, but then I ended up kind of developing somewhat of a style on guitar that he really locked into. And then the other guy was my friend Eric, who's now a comedian too. He's Eric Newton. But he was the guy that we had the band Bad Touch, where I came up with the MeanDave moniker. And he's a natural drummer. He was a dude that like he reminded me of like take like punk rock and add it to Buddy Miles and you got Eric. And I knew he knew how to play the drums because he jammed. I was in a band called Woozor before that band. The guitar player and main songwriter from that band, he was in a band with Eric that was very brief, where they would jam together. And I saw one of their performances, and it was great. Like Eric was amazing on drums, and no one else got it either. Like everybody, it was just drums and guitar. They cleared the room except for me and one other person. And I'm like, I don't understand why you guys aren't enjoying this. This is amazing. Like these guys are great. And they didn't play after that. And then Eric ended up doing a lot of rap stuff, and it was kind of like I'd see him throughout the years. And then when I was trying to come up with a drummer who could play what I was aiming for with the blues or the metal tone blues riffs that are like just dumbed down Zeppelin, like the old Danzig band, but mixed with this Don Rickles Triumph the Insult Comic Dog attitude. And I had these songs already written. I wrote them for this band, the Bug Pedals, that I was in, but then I quit that band, and they didn't want to keep those songs. They only used one song, the Mean song, which was the birth of where MeanDave came from. And so I had all these songs, and then I thought of Eric, and I'm like, Eric's not doing anything with music right now. And I gave him a call and talked to him. I said, are you doing anything with music right now? He goes, no. And I'm like, would you care to play drums with me in a band idea I got, or at least check it out and try and see what you like? He goes, yeah, fuck yeah. And then
that's cool.
We got together, and he locked in right away, and we were off to the races. And because I already had these songs, or some of these songs recorded, just demoed out to play for somebody else, and then some of them weren't even fully fleshed out, and I fleshed them out as we jammed them. And yeah, we had really a natural synchronicity that like I think was more enjoyable to the listener than with me and Dennis. But me and Dennis had a lot more of a will to experiment than, I mean, Eric was willing to experiment too, but like they were just different. And I mean, none was, I wouldn't say either was better than the other. And the funny thing was, Dennis really loved Eric's drumming too. And Dennis actually recorded a number of our songs with us, and like kind of really got into the recording of them. And yeah, it was just one of those things that, if there was ever anybody that I was going to ask to play bass, it probably would have been Dennis. But we had so many issues being in bands together before. I was like, I don't want to. Well, I'd rather keep our friendship and not, and actually we had a falling out. That's right. And so we had a falling out in 2008.
So was it always, these are always just like minimal member bands, like, guitar and drums, or
not really trying. I mean,
how it worked out.
It was like, I would get a bass player if somebody felt right that came along. And there were people that asked if they could play bass, but I just tell them, like, I don't want to be in a band with you. Like,
Dude,
it was.
I've had that happen a few times. Like some cats are just like, I just no, man, you can't. Yeah. you can't sit with us.
No, it kind of sucks because sometimes you got to hurt feelings, but because now I've been invited to, like, oh yeah, we jam. You got to come jam with us. I'm like, I'm good. And I've jammed with some after school bands. I say after school, but like there was some guys that I worked with at one of my last video game testing jobs. I was working at Zynga, and they were all metalheads and all that stuff. And I ended up hanging out with them after work, and they had a they had a music set up in the garage, and they were all metalheads. But they would be like, Dave, you can play. Come on, fucking jam with us or whatever. I would turn it into like a sludgy blues situation. I'm like, I don't want to like play your riffs of, you know, I don't want to get into all that shit. I'm like, so it's like, it's one thing if you got players that like have, it's like, we're not starting a band, so I'm not going to learn your song right here. I would rather just play and fuck around.
Let's just fuck around. Yeah,
and they had this drummer that was really good. I forget his name. His name began with like a G. Galen, that was his name. Galen. I knew there was gay in it. That's right. He was this great drummer. Actually, there's a video on YouTube that I have of our live show at the Caravan. He's a great drummer, and so I jammed with him, and then people would play on guitar, and they solo and stuff, and they were digging it.
That's cool.
And so then I got him to be my drummer for one of my, I think there's some Damage shows, and that was one of the better sounding ones. But I got a bunch of recordings with all kinds of drummers doing like, I mean, and what started is I started writing songs that were making fun of genres, but what it ended up turning into was like this bizarre cover band where I would take covers and like covers that I liked and covers that I hated, and would totally damage them. So they would they would become this like I would say a spoof. Because I did covers of like Jungle Love, of Jimi Hendrix Machine Gun, of The Doors, 5 to 1. The list goes on and on. There's like Flipper. I did a Flipper of my favorite song of. I did Nirvana songs, like one Nirvana song, just songs that stuck out. And some were fun to do. I remember I did a version of I Wish You Were Here because Eric couldn't make a gig, so I got this other drummer, and we did a I wish I recorded it too because it sounded dope. And but yeah, and I would get musicians too to like add noise because it was bass and drums, and then I would have other people. And one of my favorite recordings we did was just a barbecue jamboree that was a tribute to Wu-Tang the year after ODB died, and that's one of my favorite recordings. We just hung out all day, barbecued, got wasted, and would record these long noise jams that I still fucking love. And I think I even got the demo of that and gave it to members of Wu-Tang at shows.
Shit!
I can only imagine what they thought of it. They're like, these fucking...
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, that went into the trash, no doubt. But yeah, so I don't know. So as far as playing music today, it's like, if I had the means...
I know we've talked before, you said just the desire to do it's not really there.
Well, it's not that the desire is, it's like, if the opportunity shows up, yeah, I'll fuck around. To
take it serious is not.
I don't have a car. The one person that I'm trying to get to jam has the warehouse that some of my shit's stuck in, and he's just really reluctant to let me in there. I think because he's kind of a hoarder and he's got like way too much shit to dig in. But he's got all my old equipment there, and he keeps hyping up the idea of us jamming. And I'm like, yeah, let's fucking jam.
So you can get your equipment.
Well, not just so I can get. No, I don't want my equipment. I actually gave to him. I'm like, he can keep it because I have no use for it, and I've never paid a dime to him for the years of my stuff being there. But it's really just the fact that I'm at a point where I know him, and I know like we could have some fun meditative. Like I got into like binaural beats and stuff with meditation and going to sleep, and we could do.
We talked about that before.
Just some mellow, just dumb doom kind of like dumb doomy meditation-ish type shit, just to zone out to, and I know he would be down with it, and he kind of could use it too because he's in a fucked up part of his life right now. He's dealing with, you know, he's really hitting the real midlife crisis years. He's 50, and just kind of really in his head a lot. So I'm trying to help him with that.
Right on. No, that's I mean,
yeah.
I've.
What about you? You ever think you're going to play music?
I feel like I'm not. I feel like I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. It's just dumb. I need to, and I've been saying this in fact, the wife was like, you know, you keep saying that. I need to just treat it like it was rehearsal and go every week or a couple times a week and just play by myself.
Get it out of your system.
You know, it's just, I don't.
Write some dumb songs. Write some easy to record.
And I haven't even done that. I haven't even been, you know, I got guitars laying around here, and I haven't even been picking those up. And it's been a weird.
Right?
It's just been a weird sort of thing. Like the guys in said, we talked about it before. We were like, a couple of guys don't feel inspired at all because of everything that's going on. Like it feels like there's too much going on to be inspired to play. And then you talk to some other folks and they're just like, there's so much going on. I'm so inspired to have an angle and to use my voice and to create, because there's so much inspiration. And so, there's, part of me feels like, it's everything's
write the most uninspired album you ever have. I mean, just call it Doodles. Sean's Doodles.
Oh, that'd be cute. Well, I've got this acoustic thing I've been working on for a long time, and I've been neglecting it for forever. I really want to get that going, but it's just I don't want to get to that point where I feel like I never have time to do it anymore, because it's been something that's been so important to me all these years, and I feel like it's getting to that point where
you're getting old, man. You're just getting old.
I don't got the energy.
Let it die.
No, I'm not going to let it die, Dave.
Fucking over, man.
It's not over.
It's over, dude.
I don't like what you're saying right now. You're being mean.
I am. Well, the fact is too is like it's funny because I just talked to my I just did one of my mean times with one of my old bandmates, and he's in a new band, and that I think is pretty cool. But it also like reminds me of like because it is like it's, as you put it, it's like it's three dads and a young guy.
And
it's when we had our band, we were like the old dudes at all the all ages shows. Not all of them. We were played at bars too and stuff, but we played a lot in the all ages scene, and we were like the sleazy band, the sleazy punk band. Not that sleazy, but like there was we were like the cool old guys, because we were always in our late 20s, early 30s when it was like all these teenagers going, reaching their
I've been that
early
too.
20s, and it was a fun time. And then I didn't realize it, kind of took it for granted to some extent when I quit, because then I look at but I see how things have like kind of evolved and whatnot, because a lot of those kids all grew up, and I realized I'm like, we were kind of this post-power violence era, which was the 90s. Kind of want to say like it was a lot of the vibe and the attitude that was inspired a lot by early 80s hardcore, but just kind of done in more of a comfortable scene that was local. But then now in the 2010 to 2020 time, everybody's gotten older, and then now everybody's like combing back through that area of their life. And we're starting to see all the punk rock Me Too shit going on, and a lot of, finding out who are the punk rock Harvey Weinsteins of the
right, the creeps,
and just people just doing shady shit, and just finally people calling them out and stuff because they're older and bolder and stuff, and so it's just, and then there's some interesting angles on it all, because it's like I'm all for holding people accountable, that's fine. But I also looked at like a lot of that scene that I saw, like, because I never considered myself a punk rocker. I got into this band that played some form of punk rock, but I was more of a guy who grew up from the thrash metal scene into this hybrid of just heavy music. And
were you doing shows like the pirate punk shows and all that shit?
I was part of
all those DIY warehouse shows in Oakland.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. I was good friends with Marcus the Anarchist, the guy who started.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's one of those guys that ended up like, because I've always known him to be a good dude to me, based on my introduction. My band Woozor crashed a show that he produced at Mission Records, and he was getting yelled at by the owner of Mission Records for us crashing it. And then he basically said, if this band sucks, it's your ass. Marcus. And then we started playing, and the guy was like, okay, this is cool. Like so we managed to we soothed an angry dude based on our coolness or whatever. And and he told me that afterwards when I met him, and he goes, yeah, I just got yelled at for you guys playing, but he said, yeah, this is cool. So yeah, I just want to, he was just guilt tripping me, and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry we got you.
What made you crash the show? What was
our friend's band Godstomper was on it, and he just like, I
remember Godstomper.
It's just like offering to guest that. That's it at that time with punk rock shows and underground shows.
If the whole band's there, sure.
If the show was like, if people were cool and like it wasn't that big a deal, like they would let bands crash shows, and it was Paul who kind of would do this sometimes. And so we played 3 songs, but we played 2 long songs and 1 short song, or 1 medium song, 1 long song, and 1 short song. And they all went great. And we were on a show we had to follow a very intimidating band from Alabama called Molehill. You'd like Molehill. They're like, they're like this. They're part of that Southern sludge style. You can find their album on YouTube. They were definitely in like the I Hate God vein, but they had their own like vibe of it. And because we saw them, we were blown away by them, and then we had to follow that. And so then we followed them, and we ended up playing. We had an audience. They were digging it, and then Godstomper followed us and killed it, and then. And then that's how I met Marcus, was at that show. And then, so anyway, we probably got to wrap this up soon. We're already over an hour.
Yeah, that's, well, like I said, I wanted to talk. I wanted to catch
I'm doing
up.
okay. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing okay.
You're going to be the first person I hit up for money if I'm not.
Okay, do that. Because I'm actually doing better than I should be doing.
Save your money then, man.
Okay. That's what I need to do. All right, Dave.
All right, dude. Good talk.
Get out of here. Yeah. Good catching up with you.
We're supposed to end it like 40 minutes ago.
And we kept going, but that's all right. Love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Later.
I'm